Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Presidential politics returning to Northeast Wisconsin with the First Lady arriving at Austin Straubel Airport this afternoon to participate in a roundtable discussion on education.
See that Dr. Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, right, coming off the plane there to be greeted by a handful of people, including the governor and the Brown County executive. It's the second trip to the area for the First Lady since October. A First Alert update now. Jason Zimmerman was among those in the audience as she's addressed area students and local leaders.
Hi, everybody.
In a state that managed for President Biden's re-election bid this November, the First Lady was back in Green Bay Friday as part of a tour across America promoting educational opportunities which tie students to local jobs.
We want other parts of the state and the country to follow your example.
Biden says apprenticeship programs here continue to be a model for success and one of her husband's top priorities for providing stability for the middle class.
A curriculum that combines learning in school with hands-on learning, real-world experience, working like at a credit union, as you'll hear, or in the city parks department, or at a hospital. This is what it means to prepare students for careers.
During a roundtable discussion, Biden was joined by high school students from Preble and Mishicot, plus a member of the Oneida Nation. One member told the First Lady how she's benefited from working at a local credit union to learn accounting.
The biggest benefit of the Youth Apprenticeship Program for me is that it provides great balance between work, school, and sports. I'm able to have a job while taking challenging courses in the classroom, as well as being extremely involved in softball.
The event also brought out words of encouragement for those sharing stories.
You are leading the change here in Northeast Wisconsin, and so I want to thank you for that.
The First Lady also shared some of her own experiences in the classroom, being a teacher with helping students pick a career path, even asking some of the students on this panel a few questions. Reporting in Green Bay, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.
The Republican Party of Wisconsin held a Zoom conference this afternoon ahead of the First Lady's arrival. In the meeting, the Wisconsin GOP Chairman Brian Schimming says the First Lady is visiting Wisconsin to defend a, quote, second-class administration because the president's policies are failing workers and students here in Wisconsin.
A political trip in a political year. The truth of all of this is the Biden administration has failed Northeast Wisconsin and the state as a whole. The First Lady is here defending a second-class administration. They have failed Wisconsin workers, they have failed Wisconsin students, and really for all of their political talk in an election year, they know they're on the defensive.
Schimming said at the meeting that 72% of Wisconsin employers are having trouble hiring employees under the Biden administration.